Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming. I'd like to welcome everyone to a public hearing concerning proposed local law. Welcome to a public hearing concerning proposed local law number blank of 2025, a local law creating Article 3 of Chapter 164 of the Code of the Town of Webb, prohibiting harassment or the feeding of wild animals. I'd like to call the public hearing to order. Will the clerk please read the notice of public hearing?
Notice is hereby given that the Town of Webb Town Board will hold a public hearing on April 8th, 2025, beginning at 7 p.m. at the Town of Webb Visitor Center, 3140 State Route 28, Old Forge, New York, concerning a proposed local law to amend Chapter 164 to add a new Article 3 of the Town Code of the Town of Webb. The proposed local law would prohibit feeding and harassing wild animals. Copies of the proposed law are on file with the town clerk during regular business hours and may be reviewed, and are also available on the town's website. Please take further notice that all interested parties will be heard at this time and place dated March 12, 2025.
Thank you. All comments shall be directed to the town board and be relevant to the topic and will become part of record. When called upon, please state your name for the record. Please keep your comments to 2 minutes. Do we have anyone who'd like to speak? Yes.
Yes, Dan, I just have a question. What specifically do you mean by wild animals? Mice, chipmunks, squirrels, or it's just deer, bear, and things like that, raccoons? There's a lot of wild animals around, so.
Any animal that is not normally domesticated in New York State, included but not limited to bears, coyotes, deer, foxes, groundhogs, possums, raccoons, skunks, waterfowl, nuisance birds other than songbirds or hummingbirds.
Squirrels, chipmunks.
Not on here, Dan.
No, I'm just curious. I don't feed any of them.
Okay. Anyone else?
So birds are,
Yes.
Janice O'Connor, so
Yes.
birds are classified as an animal?
Nuisance birds.
What constitutes that?
Geese, ducks. Anything that would be like a nuisance. If your neighbor were feeding 500 birds, that would be a nuisance. You know, if they had 30 feeders out and birds were coming like that, I think that would be a nuisance. I think that would be the only kind of nuisance. They're not really saying that feeding hummingbirds and songbirds are a
Have a
nuisance.
follow-up? How does this change any existing laws? Do we or the state have rules on this already?
The state has a law, we do not have a local law.
And the state law is the same, or?
We have to have a local law on the books.
And my last question is whether is there a fine stated with this new law?
Yes. Any person who violates any provision of this article shall be liable for a fine of not less than $1,000 and not more than $1,500 for each offense, together with the cost of prosecution. And B, each separate offense shall be deemed committed on each day or part of the day during which a violation occurs or continues.
Does it apply to minors?
Can't answer that.
Minor New York State, anybody under the age of 16 years old will not be able to receive a ticket. Thank
you. Do I have any other comments?
Is that per animal fed? I mean, somebody feeds 3 deers. Is it a triple offense? Or, I mean, it's not a stupid question because people. It may seem like a stupid question, but somebody's going to ask.
I would imagine if you fed it 3 times, you're gonna get 3 tickets.
Yeah, but
Am I correct?
Depends who writes it.
The chief is here, so he can answer that
I can
question.
answer that. I mean, it's up to the discretion. You could be charged with 3 counts if it's 3 separate times, or it could be just 1.
That was my question. Thank you, Chief.
Don Andrews, if
Yes.
the minor is with his or her parents, do the parents get ticketed or fined?
Chief?
That would be a case-by-case basis, which I talked to the district attorney about.
Thank you.
Vicky Klein, twofold. First, which law would supersede, yours or New York State? I'm just trying to, I own a hotel, so to me, when I'm stating something to someone, and we do when they check in, be very clear to not feed animals, but I'm just trying to get clarity.
New York State holds the law, we can't do anything.
They supersede or?
Yes, they supersede the law.
Okay, okay. And what are we gonna, what's being done with all the visitors coming into town to educate them on this new law?
We'll be speaking about that in a little bit.
Okay.
Yep, thank you. Any other comments? Okay. Having heard all comments from those wishing to speak on the topic, would someone like to make a motion to close the public hearing?
I'll make the motion.
Kyle, second.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Thank you, for coming. Please sign it, I know everybody signed in the attendance sheet. Please turn off your cell phones, and please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The next regular meeting will be on May 13th at 7 p.m. The May Audit of Claims meeting will be held on the first Monday, May 5th at 5:30 p.m. Executive session may occur this evening if deemed necessary. I'd like to welcome Andy Getty to his last official board meeting. Thank you, Andy. View would like to use Point Park for their 16th annual ice cream social on July 26th. The setup will begin at 9 a.m. The event is 11 to 3. All right, is the board all good with this?
Sure.
Thank you.
Yep.
Herkimer County legislators and Herkimer County Youth Bureau awarded the town of Webb $3,000 for a new program, the Forest Club program. This club will provide a one-of-a-kind opportunity for youths aged 5 years to 10 years within the community. Each week, the club will focus on different developmental and life skills through hands-on activities and themed lessons. Some activities will be carried out throughout a multi-week session, while others will be a single-day session. All activities will incorporate Adirondack resources and unique experiences. Examples of activities will include tree tapping, knot tying skills, plant identification, gardening, woodwork, forging, and orienteering. The Recreation Department aims to launch this program in the summer of 2025. Thank you to Hannah for making this happen. This sounds like a really great program. New one.
Yeah.
Coming on board. The board received a thank you letter from Haska for their continued support, and we would like to thank Haska for their continued community support. The supervisor received a letter of resignation, excuse me, from Scott Little from the Zoning Board of Appeals effective March 25th, 2025. Thank you to Scott. You've sat on this board for a long time, many years, with a lot of commitment, and certainly appreciate it. The supervisor received a letter of retirement from Dave Kress effective April 25th, 2025. Thank you to Dave for keeping our trails well groomed in the winter and the upkeep of the trails and vegetation during the other months. You've been a huge asset to Macaulay Mountain, and we appreciate your hard work and efforts. Both will be truly missed. Proposed local law blank of 2025, a local law creating Article 3 of Chapter 164 of the Code of the Town of Webb, prohibiting the harassment or the feeding of wild animals. The board held a public hearing tonight. What is the pleasure of the board? To adopt or not to adopt local law blank of 2025, a local law creating Article 3 of Chapter 164 of the Code of the Town of Webb, prohibiting harassment of or feeding wild animals. Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Ben, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Kyle? Board discussion?
Yeah, I think, just for the audience, I think basically, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong, we're just trying to make it aware of, shouldn't be feeding the bears, the deer, because obvious things happen. All these questions about birds and stuff, I get it too, because my family likes to feed birds all the time. They like watching them. As far as Dan mentioned with squirrels and all that stuff, they go to the bird feeders. But I really think that it's mainly focused on the fact that seeing people out feeding the deer out on the street and the bear and stuff is just wrong. I think that's the biggest point we're trying to make here. Is that correct? Or
I got a couple things on that. Just wanted to note that we did get a couple responses, or I guess opinions from DC. That one officer that was here, Officer McDuff, who had a couple points. And, one of the things he said in his email was limiting the scope of this to address the primary issues, which, as I think we just heard from everybody in here, it's all these, what are these animals are, and they were just kind of say, like, maybe focus on the ones that actually are causing the problems, like the geese, the deer, and the bear. Like, maybe we just put that in there and get rid of, because Dan's gonna have questions for years,
I wasn't trying to be a wise.
No, I'm with you.
Trying to clarify.
But I'm just saying, I don't know if that's something that we may consider. That was a big point he had in there, that he thought maybe it might have made it easier to enforce. I think, I don't know if you have anything to go off of that, or.
Well, enforcement's gonna be the issue. It's something that the officer has to see to officially enforce it. Obviously, if someone calls 911 and says, we see someone feeding a deer or a bear, we're gonna respond, and if we see it, then we'll take the appropriate action.
And I'm just,
Oops, sorry.
no, you go ahead.
I think the discretion, we're gonna have a lot of discretion on this, where, somebody calls up and says, hey, I saw Dan filling his bird feeder. We're gonna use our common sense with that.
Yeah. Then the other part of that, I don't know, I'm kind of indifferent on that one with the wording harassment, because they did bring up, and I'm just kind of putting this out there because I felt like it was nice that they had a part in this, the harassment part of it versus just feeding. Like a lot of times people do harass animals to make them like go away, and I think that does that result in?
I think again, that's discretion.
Yeah.
Harassment to scare them out of your property, or harassment to try to put your child on the back of a deer to ride it, or to get a picture, or to separate babies from their mothers. And then you have babies in the apple tree and you have a 3-year-old under the tree so mom can get a picture. I think that would be the discretion you would use
Yes.
for harassment, right?
Harassment's anything that's gonna take that wild animal out of its normal course. So
Okay.
bear walking up to somebody's back door isn't necessarily their normal course of behavior. So you can harass it to leave at that point.
But I think that's what he was referring to there. Where that's a tough thing. Where is that legal and all?
That's where discretion will come back into play.
Okay.
Yeah, or when, that night of those bears, people throwing beer bottles and apples at them up in the tree, which scared them, kept them up there, and they didn't come down,
That'd be more.
Where you can
Yeah,
call,
that's
that's
harassment.
harassment,
Okay.
it's a start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any other board discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Councilman Lindsay?
Aye.
Councilman Hannah?
Aye.
Councilman Greco?
Aye.
Councilman Ross?
Aye.
Supervisor Baker?
Big eye.
Aye, guys.
Now, Vicky, to answer your question, I'd like to welcome Don Andrews from Bears, BEARS, who will present a campaign on bear education and rehabilitation for our town. Thank you for coming, Don, 2 nights in a row.
Glad to be here.
So last year, after we lost one of our bears and two of the cubs, a bunch of us met here in this room and we were talking about what we could do to maybe change the behavior moving forward. Because if we keep killing bears, we're just going to keep killing bears because more bears are going to take their place. Nobody wants to see that done. Nobody wants to fine people because, you know, they're doing stupid things. But we have to come up. We have to have a starting point. So. A few of us have gotten together, Kurt Gardner, who we all know, and Kelly Hunkins and I have gotten together a few times to put some ideas down on paper and see what we can come up with to kind of change the habits a little bit. And what we've come up with so far, there's been a lot of talk about what we're doing. We've got a poster that if accepted by the town and by the folks in the town, we'd like to put out in campsites, motels, hotels, restaurants, any place of business. And it starts off by keeping our wildlife wild. We talked last year, these are they're our deer, it's our wildlife, it's our town, we gotta take ownership of it. What we're called is bears, B period, E period, A period, etc. Bear Education and Rehabilitation Services. And the aim of this is to get kids involved and families involved in taking a pledge to protect the wildlife from being euthanized from human conflict. So what we're going to do is if we can put this again in merchant buildings, campgrounds, hotels, motels, and people come in and want to take the pledge, I'll just read through it real quick. And I don't know if you guys have seen this or not.
I have.
Some of you may have. By taking this pledge, I agree to keep our wildlife safe and again, it's our wildlife, right? I agree to keep our wildlife safe by agreeing to the following: to watch our wildlife from a safe distance, never feed deer or bears, never pet our deer or bears, to photograph wildlife from a safe distance, to never lure our wildlife to cars with food or other attractants. And it says, why this pledge? By taking this pledge, you will be helping keep our wildlife wild. Our wildlife has access to a large natural supply of food. Wildlife needs a natural food source, not a human source of food, in order to survive. And then once they take that pledge, again, there's going to be a lot of kids involved in this, but parents too, hopefully. We're going to give them either a patch or a badge or a sticker or something to say, you know, they took this pledge. This is just to get the word out. This is a starting point. We've got to come up with something, and this is what we thought might work. We have a website. It's not up and running yet, but we do have the domain name, keepourwildlifewild.com. So we'll be, if it's all agreed upon, we'll be implementing that and putting updates out there as well. So we used this logo, the mother bear with the two cubs with the wings. People ask why the wings. This is what happens when we have to euthanize bears. They go away. So that's why we put that in there. We have talked with the state a little bit. They're going to have a little bit more feedback for us either at the end of the month or 1st of May. So the verbiage on this might change slightly, but this is pretty close to the final product. So that's, any questions, any feedback, we're open to feedback. It's just three of us banging our heads together and coming up with this stuff. And, you know, we appreciate any feedback is welcome. Yep.
Do you think the visiting public will understand that logo and realize that when they feed them, it means they get euthanized? That education is
hopefully that's going to spark that conversation. Why the wings? Why the wings on bears? And that's kind of what we're hoping is that people come in and say, why do you have wings on bears? Well, because we've lost some bears to euthanization and they go away.
What happened to the campaign of a fed bear is a dead bear?
We talked about that. That's kind of a national campaign. I know they use that a lot out west too.
And posters here.
Yeah. It just got tired. We just felt that we got tired and needed a new, it needed something else to kind of promote.
But it says what happens.
Oh, I'm not disagreeing.
Yeah.
I'm not disagreeing. Yeah. Anybody else?
Thank you.
All right.
If anybody comes up with any ideas or questions, you can get a hold of Don or Kurt or Kelly. Kelly's been working on that too. Thank you very much, you guys.
Thank you.
The Town of Webb Fair Housing Officer, the Town of Webb is committed to prohibiting discrimination based upon race, color, national origin, age, disability, religion, sex, sexual orientation, and reprisal of sale, lease or rental, advertising, and financing of housing. Do I have a motion to appoint Dana Pashley as the Town of Webb Fair Housing Officer to replace Norm Skiana?
I'll make,
Motion?
I'll make the motion.
Kyle, second.
I'll second it.
Then board discussion.
I just haven't heard of this position before, that's all, so I didn't know if you had.
We appointed Norm Skiana
A few years ago.
a couple of years ago, and it's to help with grant funding, and we have to have a housing
When Don Hall was
officer. A
Oh,
fair
okay.
Pro housing.
officer.
So this is when,
here, when Don Hall was here.
this is what Don Hall was doing, and then it rolled into Norm, and then we just so we have somebody on.
No, Don wasn't it. When Don was here,
When
we
Don was here, we did it.
did it with Norm, and now we're replacing Norm with Dana Pashley.
So it's just an add-on to what Dana's already doing then, right?
There's really nothing to it, yeah.
Okay.
Unless
Yeah.
there's a discrimination problem.
And we haven't had any, so. Not gonna move. Anybody else?
No. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dana, for stepping up
Yeah.
to take that position on. Roll call vote, please.
Council Lindsay?
Aye.
Council Hannah?
Alright.
Council Greco?
Aye.
Council Ross?
Aye.
Supervisor Baker?
Aye.
Five ayes.
The town of Webb is applying for $727,500 in grant funding through the Northern Border Regional Commission 2025 Catalyst Program to support Phase 1 of its wastewater collection system rehabilitation project. This represents a portion of a total estimate of $5.57 million needed to complete the full multi-phase rehabilitation. Additional funding sources being pursued or committed to support this project include state and federal infrastructure grant programs, such as potential allocations from New York State, EFC, and other infrastructure initiatives designed to support rural water and sewer upgrades. This phase focuses on high priority areas identified through engineering assessments and an inflow and the I&I study, targeting sections of Pullman Ave, South Shore Road, Lakeview Avenue, and New York State Route 28 near the Adirondack Bank. Nancy, would you please read the next?
Authorizing the town supervisor to act as the authorized official for the NBRC Catalyst application. Whereas the town of Webb is applying for the Northern Border Regional Commission, NBRC, for funding through the 2025 Catalyst Program for the Wastewater Collection System Rehabilitation Project. And whereas the NBRC requires that the applicant formally designate an authorized official to sign all NBRC investment documents that legally bind the town of Webb, including grant applications, award documents, requests for reimbursement, and compliance certifications. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the town board of the town of Webb hereby authorizes and empowers Bonnie Baker, town supervisor, to act on behalf of the town of Webb as the authorized official for the purpose of applying for, accepting, and administering NBRC Catalyst funding. Be it further resolved that the town supervisor shall have the authority to sign all relevant documents associated with the NBRC grant application and any subsequent award, including any contracts, agreements, reimbursement requests, reports, and other instruments necessary to fulfill the responsibilities of the grant. Be it further resolved that this resolution shall remain in effect for the duration of the NBRC grant performance period unless formally modified or rescinded by action of the town board.
Do we have a motion to adopt?
I'll make the motion.
Mike, second.
I'll second it.
Ben. Board discussion.
How much was it for? I guess.
$750.
$727,500.
This is just to give them the okay to apply for it and all that, right?
Correct.
Which is, what is that again? Corey and his crew, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
Apply for it.
correct.
Cool.
Any other board discussion?
Hopefully we get it to use it.
Roll call vote, please.
Councilman Lindsay? Councilman Hannah?
Aye.
Councilman Greco?
Aye.
Councilman Ross?
Aye.
Supervisor Baker?
Aye.
5 ayes.
Can I ask that you read the next one? Thank you.
Public hearing on proposed local law number blank of 2025, amendment to Article 1 of Chapter 316 of the Town of Webb Code, Lakes and Waterways. Whereas the town board wishes to consider adoption of proposed local law number blank of 2025, amendment to Article 1 of Chapter 316 of the Town of Webb Code entitled Lakes and Waterways, which amendment will provide updating docking restrictions and penalties for unlawfully docking boats or vessels on the town-owned docks on the Old Forge Pond from June 15th to September 15th of each year. And whereas adoption of this legislation is authorized by the New York State Municipal Home Rule Law, Section 10. Whereas Municipal Home Rule Section 20 requires the town board to hold a public hearing prior to the adoption of any local law. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the town board shall meet and hold a public hearing at the Town Visitor Information Center, 3140 State Route 28, Old Forge, Town of Webb, New York, beginning at 7 p.m. on Tuesday, May 13th, 2025, to hear all interested persons and take any necessary action provided by law concerning proposed local law number blank of 2025, amendments to Article 1, Chapter 316 of the Town of Webb Code, and be it further resolved that the town board further authorizes and directs the Webb Town Clerk to publish and post a notice of public hearing concerning proposed local law blank of 2025 and amendments to Article 1 of Chapter 316 of the Town of Webb Code in the manner provided by law, and to make a copy of the proposed local law available for public inspection in the town clerk's office following the adoption of this resolution and until the public hearing is closed.
Thank you. Do we have a motion to adopt?
I'll make the motion.
Kyle, second.
I'll second it.
Board discussion?
Oh, that's the law.
So this is, that time of year again. We're actually, we're a month earlier this year than we were last year. I took some time over the past year looking at different ways, to bring back some sort of boat parking. After everything that I laid down on paper, the only one that stuck with me is what we had last year. What the committee prior to that had come up with. It's kind of a happy medium for both sides, where part of the docking or part of the boardwalk is only daytime parking with no overnight whatsoever. Pied Piper dock, and then those small space of docking behind the tennis courts with overnight parking with 2 reset days. And then the navigation docks having no parking at all except for the Old Forge fireboat. After a lot of consideration, I decided to stick with this one and just alter literally a few things, especially last night with the help of a couple of the board members. This is just to bring back, open it up again. It's a public area. We're a tourist town, whether some people like it or not. We welcome everybody. That's our business in this town. We have to welcome everybody. I personally felt when boat parking was shut down, and I understand the reasons why, I do. I personally felt a little slighted that one group was being told, no. A lot of the hotels just right here, we have 4 hotels, right? Yeah, 4 hotels right there. That once the boat parking was shut down, I've talked with a few of them, and they saw a drip a drop in some of their summer business because it was too much for the boat owner who might be staying there to put in, take out, put in, take out. They'd rather just go somewhere, leave their boat in for a day or two, enjoy their time here. And that's what we want. We want to have people come enjoy their time here. So I just want to move forward, and this could forever change again after it's adopted or not adopted. Next person can deal with it long after me. But what I'm shooting for is having Monday through Wednesday allowing the overnight parking on the 2 dedicated areas. Thursday night into Friday morning at 8 a.m. having no overnight parking at all. Friday night into Saturday night would have allowed parking. And then Sunday night into Monday morning at 8 a.m. no overnight parking. I talked with the chief briefly today about it. He didn't see any major issues with it. I'm hoping that we can move this in the right direction and just get it back open to, the people that do come here during the summer. I did keep the fine at $1,000 fine if you are caught parking overnight. I think that just the number alone would kind of scare some people from wanting to test the waters on that.
Is that per night?
It's per night. Anytime you get caught, it's $1,000.
So you park 2 nights in a row, it's $2,000.
$2,000. I personally wouldn't want to pay that, but that's my goal with this is to just hopefully next month when we can all sit and talk about it at the hearing, to get this moving in the right direction and bring back a little bit of the boat parking that we once had. And I do know we did get an update from the Hudson River Black River Water Authority going out to bid
Do
for.
you want me to read it?
Yeah.
I reached out to Robert Ferdland from the Hudson River Black River Regulating District about the dam and what progress has been made. He told me the design phase is at 100%. Permitting and joint applications have been filed. They will solicit bids at the end of June, the beginning of July. They hope to have a contract signed and notice out to the public to start a fall project. So that was the info on that.
So with the dam project potentially coming up in the fall, this really won't hinder that. But the next season, if they're working on that side where the boat parking would be, temporary order of police, there's no boat parking. It goes without question, we have to do that. I don't want to tread lightly and say, no, we'll just move it. I don't want to do that. I want to keep it so that way everyone stays somewhat happy.
It doesn't get confusing now.
Doesn't get
too.
confusing either.
Right.
I believe the dam project, from what I understood from somebody I was talking to, they're gonna do the Six Lake Dam as well as this one at the same time, and it was a 2-year project.
Yeah, the first year, phase 1, I believe, the Pied Piper dock would be ripped up. That's the area where they're gonna start. Then the second phase, they'll be moving on to this side of the dam, affecting the canoe access, which I think at that point, we're gonna be moving it down to the end of the boardwalk down there. Yeah.
And it's not gonna affect the levels of the water from what I understand either.
Correct.
Not gonna screw that up.
So after those docks are torn up, I went to the last set hearings and there was promises that that area would be expanded for town dock space, and that's never happened.
Right, so
Will that happen now?
that was in the plans. We haven't seen the final plans, correct? But when we sat down, Bonnie, myself, Kirk Gardner, sat down with them prior to me coming on the board. And the plan that they had all drawn out, ready to go, was to extend that dock further down towards water's edge. Because we will be losing from the dam about 15 feet back. So they're gonna extend it further down. They also are very, they're very happy to hear any suggestions that we had. We talked about downlighting off the dam to illuminate it, replacing the lights that are along the boardwalk there to match the same ones that we have here. And they had some other possible suggestions, but until we see a clear plan, we do know, though, they will be extending that further towards the water's edge
Only to
property.
make up for what's lost.
It could actually be more.
And I have asked them for their design plan, they just haven't gotten it to me yet.
Any discussion of putting fingers out?
There has been discussion where we would have to wait to see what their final, because that was discussed in that meeting, and they were all for it, but we have to wait to see what they can do and what they can't do. If not, it's a conversation down the road to add. Because that was always a topic of conversation between Kurt and myself when we talked about it, to possibly down the road, potentially add finger docks.
But that's what was promised 3 years ago when they shut the docks down,
Right.
and it's never happened.
This isn't 3 years ago. We're hoping to move forward.
Thank you. Any more board discussion on that?
Good.
Roll call vote, please.
Kyle.
Councilman Lindsay,
Aye.
Councilman Hannah,
Aye.
Councilman Greco,
Aye.
Councilman Ross,
Aye.
Supervisor Baker.
Aye.
Good work on that.
Okay, Macaulay Mountain old chairlift chairs. Get ready. Everybody listen good. Macaulay Mountain will be holding a sale event for the old Macaulay Mountain chairs on Saturday, May 24th, from 10 to 4. Chairs are $800 apiece, cash or check only. Purchase must be made in person, and chairs will not be held for pickup. They have to be picked up that day. There are no exceptions. All sales are final. This is a one-day sale, first come, first served.
How many chairs are there, Donnie?
64.
64.
Summer, fall chairlift prices at Macaulay Mountain. A motion to change the prices for the summer, fall chairlift to $20 for adults, $10 for seniors, military, and children 6 to 18. Children 5 and under are free. Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Ben, second?
I'll second it.
Mike. Board discussion?
No.
Roll call vote, please.
Councilman Lindsay,
Aye.
Councilman Hannah,
Aye.
Councilman Greco,
Aye.
Councilman Ross,
Aye.
Supervisor Baker.
Aye.
5 ayes.
Police appointment, a motion to appoint Jace Jincheski, effective April 1st, as a full-time police officer with benefits. Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Kyle, second.
I'll second it.
Ben, board discussion?
Welcome back.
Yeah.
Welcome, Jace, thank you. Roll call vote, please.
Councilman Lindsay,
Aye.
Councilman Hannah,
Aye.
Councilman Greco,
Aye.
Councilman Ross,
Aye.
Supervisor Baker.
Aye.
5 ayes.
A motion to appoint Timothy Shalika, effective March 12th, as a full-time police officer with benefits. Any board discussion? Oh, excuse me, motion?
Yeah, I'll make the motion.
Ben, second.
I'll second.
Kyle, any board discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Councilman Lindsay,
Aye.
Councilman Hannah,
Aye.
Councilman Greco,
Aye.
Councilman Ross,
Aye.
Supervisor Baker.
Aye.
5 ayes.
Thank you, Chief, for getting our staff up to par. We appreciate it.
How many full-time officers are there now?
How many are you short now?
We're not short
We're
any.
not short on.
No? Great.
How many full-time are there now?
6, including the school resource officer.
Great.
Councilman Lindsay, do you have anything this evening?
I don't have much. It's April. Everyone, including my own state, is on vacation. I do want to thank Dave Kress for his years of service to that mountain. He's done a great job up there. And Andy, welcome to your last meeting. I'm sure we talked briefly the other night, and you said you might come back to a meeting or two to raise some hell. So I welcome it.
Chicken and screaming.
And I thank you for your time as well. I know the end of this month, Diane, correct? We're meeting for the construction project at the school. And then again, just a reminder, June 1st, Gilbert Street turns into a one-way towards Park Ave. That's all I got.
Thank you, Councilman Hannah.
All right, thanks everyone for attending tonight. I don't have much either. Bonnie and I had a WebEx meeting on the reassessment starting. Learn a little bit more on how the assessments are done in our town, and want to thank Tina, Dana, and Leanna, and our contractor on it. What's his name? Robert. For the reassessment, they have a lot of work ahead of them. Love seeing the information post on the total snowfall this winter at 186 inches. Thank you for that. It was a good winter.
Seems like more.
I know.
Still going.
I know.
Still going.
Added 2 today.
Yeah, and thank Kevin and Chris and the Macaulay Mountain crew for a great season. Only heard good things this winter. Your hard work was appreciated. Wish Mother Nature was a little bit nicer and gave us some more good spring skiing before we had to close. Want to thank Chuck and the trail department too for this winter and their hard work. And congratulations on Chuck's retirement. And yeah, thank you, Dave, too. Cress, he's going to be missed up there, but I hope he still comes around and helps Kevin out up there.
I think he'll give him his 2 cents.
Yeah, I think so too.
Parents usually do.
Yeah, and I want to thank Jason too. It was, it was good to see you and the rest of the police officers out on St. Patrick's Day. Talking with people and having a presence and being a part of this community. It was a good sight to see.
Thank you, we plan to do more of it.
Fantastic.
I apologize for the sirens on the vehicle, but waiting to run a parade.
Yeah, it was good. And yeah, that's all we've got.
Thank you, Councilman Greco.
Yeah, just, the winter is officially over now, and it's just like to think back of where we were with the Macaulay Mountain deck, and then the agreement with the snowmobile between the towns, the chairlift. I mean, I just think there's so many people that deserve some thank yous, and I know they've been handed out. There's some, big names retiring, some huge contributors to this town for so many years, and I think during that process, having people fill in has been pretty admirable, and I think that's going to continue on. With Andy leaving too, I think we're going to be missing these people that have done this for so long, and it's not such an easy place to operate. But I am gonna, now that I have him and Nancy in the same room here for this last meeting here, I'm going to ask about the zoning update.
Just in the hands of the town board.
It's in hands of, and the lawyer has it. He talked to Andy and I'm waiting for them. I can't make the,
Who's them? Us?
I'm waiting for the lawyer. I can't take that up. Patience.
I highly doubt the public hearing is gonna happen before I retire.
I was gonna say.
So he'll be attending. What can I tell you? We were gonna be able to fit it in before he left anyway, correct? So
Been a lot of work on it, yes.
it'll be okay.
Okay. I'll wait till next month. I only got a couple more months of asking that question. Yeah, just more of the same. Just thank yous to everybody. I mean, Chuck Betts, and even working together with them that up there. This was probably the best winter we've had in years. To kind of expect to not have a real winter, between the highway departments, the DPW, all those guys out there, out in our town doing that stuff, and then to get slammed with snow all winter. I think there's something to be said for everybody involved up here. We got some good people working around here. Yeah, that's about all I got. There's some other stuff working. Some good positive things that I think some more people are gathering information on. That when it's there, we'll probably have it shared. When it comes like the ice skating rink and all that stuff. So.
Sounds great. Thank
About all I
you.
got.
Forward.
Councilman Ross.
Yeah, I guess I'm just gonna repeat on the thank yous to Scott Little and Dave Kress. Obviously, everybody else that's retiring. They've all done wonderful for this community. I did want to ask you, Nancy, I'm sorry, I don't know if I didn't bring it up last month, but I between you and Scott and me, has there been a letter, anything put out to these people that have dumpsters, or are we?
No, they just got me the addresses. They
Okay,
had to get me the addresses of where they were going.
because I did
So
offer
now
to
that-
Scott if he wanted to just go door to door, I'm fine with that, but that's up to him.
And we have to look up the mailing addresses now.
Okay, alright. Then I guess I will have to comment on the McCully Mountain chairs. I was the guy that kind of wanted them a little bit cheaper, only because I felt that whoever wanted one of those would be nice to have, to get one without spending a lot of money to get it, because I know there's a lot of people in this community that would like one, but, you know, hopefully they all sell quickly, but I know I just had my doubts, but I'm just being honest.
Thank you. You like your honesty?
And that's all I
Anything
got.
else?
No, thank you, that's all I got.
I have a couple things. We have $40,000 in our engineering line. I'd like to move forward on the hockey rink ideas. But I wanna know if you think that engineering money should go somewhere else, or should it go towards this hockey idea? And you guys have some time to think about that. I just wanted to throw that out there, that I'd like to get moving on that hockey idea. And in order to do that, it's gonna take engineering money.
40K, you said that.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to go into it.
So definitely would like
Before,
to be
like-
part of some of the discussions.
Yeah, there's a whole committee, so. The hockey ball brought approximately 8,700 people to their little arena up there that they had. Kudos, Tommy, on that. I just think that if we, build it,
Oh, the basketball.
They will come.
how come?
The ice balls.
Oh, the ice ball, yeah.
Yeah, we had
That was huge.
a good group of people making that happen, so it was.
Yeah, it was a lot of people. Kudos to everybody on that. I sent out approximately 30 letters from our county legislators, assemblymen, senators, all the way up to the governor, telling about our sewer problems, our collection problems. And I've invited every one of them to come see what's going on. I told them that we have a moratorium on our sewer and that it's an emergency situation, so let's see if anybody cares. And I'll just keep reaching out. If I don't hear from them, I just sent those out 2 weeks ago. I'll give them another week. If I don't hear, I'll reach out again. The most I can do is just keep reaching out.
Plugging away.
Other than that, I think that is all I have this evening, Nancy.
I need a motion to issue a bingo license, a raffle license, and a game of chance license to the Old Forge Fire Department for their 2025 events.
Yep.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Who did it?
All of us.
Give me two.
Kyle made the motion.
I said yep first.
Yeah, second, yeah.
You know, you're all in favor.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Perfect, thank you. And then we have a rabies clinic coming up from Herkimer County, May 15th at the Old Forge Library. Thursday, it is a Thursday, 5 to 6:30. Cats, dogs, ferrets 3 months or older must be vaccinated. Every dog, cat needs 2 rabies vaccinations 1 year apart. Ferrets must be vaccinated. I did not know that. Dogs should be on a leash. Cats and ferrets should be in a carrier. They are asking for a $5 donation. And any history of your pets' prior vaccinations they would like to see. And they have a number in Herkimer to call to pre-register. That's what I got.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Members of Assembly, and anyone like to speak? Yes.
Can we open the trail today? I'm only kidding.
I don't think Lime Timber will let us.
Just a couple things about the trail. I mean, we had a great school this year. People have said that right from the beginning. This year, I rode 5,800 miles. So 90% of that was from my door. And I've been riding here and other places across New York, Massachusetts, Vermont, New Hampshire all my life. I've seen continuous improvements in all the areas, and I've seen continuous improvements here in the town of Webb across all these years that I've been riding here. I've been riding since I was a little sprout, so I got a few saddle miles on it. You know, not one person or group made this a spectacular year. It was a continued effort from all the following people here. Many thanks to Mother Nature, right? She showed up this year with the snow and the cold temperatures. She's the one that started it off for us. And then thanks to Chuck and his team of groomer operators. I mean, they were superstars throughout the entire season. They knocked it out of the park this year. Casey and his team for moving snow around on the trails and working with Chuck, and then allowing the snow to remain on the Big Moose and on Stillwater Road. So it was rideable throughout almost the entire year. The Visitors Information Center, the folks in there getting the trail permits out, providing updates on the conditions, and having the patience to deal with some cranky individuals on social media. I give them a lot of kudos for going with that. And then a great thanks to the fire department and the ambulance corps. They were there all the time whenever folks needed them. These folks, along with Bonnie and the board, never get enough credit. You know, it's so easy for people to complain and show disrespect on social media. It's easier to say that behind your keyboard than to say things face to face. And it's always easier to be negative than it is to be positive. I hope we can turn this around and we can be more positive going forward with things. Just in general, from what I know, there's so much that goes into making the trails enjoyable for folks. And just a few of the things that I know of from watching it happen out my door, seeing Chuck and the guys work. They end up raking the trails, they roll the trails, they brush, they repair culverts, ditches, they improve trails throughout the year. This year they improved Trail 8, the Trail 8 hill that goes from the pipeline over to the intersection of 89. He got a hold of some millings there and he took care of that hill, so now the big rocks don't show up. So hopefully our visitors and riders noticed that. There weren't the big chunks of rocks that were kicking up all the time. That was a great addition to the system this year. And then during the early snowfall, he takes his little contraption that's tires and logs and drags it behind the tractor and goes out on the trails and packs in the snow so that we have a solid base once the big snow comes. So they're out there doing that every little snowfall that we got. And usually I don't ride on weekends, but this year I did because we had friends up. And usually we don't ride because of the high traffic and I'll call them yahoos that are out there, right? The inconsiderates. This year we went out, and let me tell you, the trails were in great shape for Saturdays and Sundays with all the traffic that we got. The groomers were out knocking down the bumps, and it was an enjoyable Saturday and Sunday. We probably went out five weekends, and it was really, really good. I rode in Pittsburgh, New Hampshire this year. Those of you that snowmobile know that's another great area to go and ride. And they did a good job on their trails. But you know what? They do the same thing we do, except they only do one shift. They start grooming at 2 in the afternoon, and they're done by midnight. We're very fortunate that we have 2 shifts that groom the trails here throughout the day. In a lot of places that I rode, they start grooming at 3 in the afternoon, 3 or 4 in the afternoon. So I know there's been a lot of discussion about, you know, a 3rd shift, but that's off for all the miles that I put on. What we do is freaking good. We do a really, really nice job. Sure, there's things that can improve, and I think we're working towards that. But overall, we got the formula. You guys know what to do. The team knows what to do. So I want to thank you all for a fantastic year. I loved every single mile that I put on from here. And I want to say good luck to Chuck. He's going to be missed. He's got a lot of knowledge. So,
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Anyone else?
Appreciate it.
Yep.
Of course. Before I say what I'm gonna say, these are my own thoughts. I haven't been sent here by anybody. They don't represent anybody. I'm gonna speak about the ambulance corps and the ambulance funding. The board reached out, established an ambulance district for 24, now we're into 25. It's an ambulance task tax district, similar to a fire district. It taxes people for ambulance services. It's a small amount of your tax bill. Wearing the tax collector, when they first instituted, I asked if anybody complained about it. She said a couple people asked about it. Nobody complained about it. I've been involved in the fire department ambulance for 62 years. And I want to thank the board for stepping up years ago, helping fund our 24/7 paramedics, putting it into so that's shared between everybody. We can raise only so much money from donations. There are a lot of various generous donors. But my proposal is that you establish to run the ambulance district a board of commissioners. I know that you guys are the commissioners, but you guys got a lot of stuff to do. If you establish a board of commissioners, just like the fire commissioners, I served there 20 years, most of us were very knowledgeable in firefighting and equipment and stuff. I don't think any of you guys have this knowledge. And I think a board of commissioners, whether elected or appointed, would go a long way towards this. You would have people step up, including myself, I would serve, and lend our experience to better operation, better utilization of taxpayer funds. Like I said, you guys got a lot to do here. You're commissioners of water district, sewer district, all that stuff. And I'd like to see that happen. I think that it's very important. Plus, every 2 years, 60% of the board could be gone based on the election. It's never happened, but it possibly could happen. So every 2 years, you would change your commissioners. This would be a continuation of the district policies, procedures, and so on. The Board of Fire Commissioners consists of 5 commissioners. They each elected for a 5-year term. So they have continuity. And they change every once in a while, but there's a potential. I don't know this election, what this is going to bring or any other election, but there's a potential 60% of the people that control the ambulance corps and the ambulance district funding could be gone, and you'd have to educate somebody else. So I hope the board would consider doing this. There's 2 different ways you can do it. You can appoint, and I believe from my research, you can hold elections. They're publicly elected offices. People that would be commissioners in the ambulance district would have to be residents of the town of Webb. You can't appoint somebody from Long Island to be on the ambulance district commissioner. So I'd like to really ask that the board consider doing that. And it would be, the ambulance is essential service. I mean, you pick up the phone, they just had a call now. Within 10 minutes, they were on a call. We're out 5 to 10 minutes out of the barn. We have paid paramedics. We contract with Edwards Ambulance out of Chadwick's. Every one of our paid paramedics has over 30 years experience. They're all excellent except for one, and he's a local boy. He has a dozen years, and they're all excellent. So I know myself, my family's used it, I've used it, my kids have used the ambulance, and probably a lot of the people in this room have friends or relatives that have used the ambulance. You want to be able to pick up that phone and have an ambulance coming. And again, I thank the board for stepping up and establishing this district, but it's important that we do the best job we can with it. And I think that this would be a solution to it. So,
Thank you.
consider it, please.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Noted.
Jamie?
Well, it was a great summer, winter's back. Calls within the fire district has declined substantially since this winter season has ended. And during this off-season now, we take that time to have our annual clam bake. And on the 31st of May, starting around 11 a.m., we will have our clam bake at North Street Recreational Facility. And I'm here to invite the town board and a guest
Thank
to
you.
attend our clam bake. And also,
They will be getting invitations.
they're all good, yeah, you're all gonna get written invitations as well.
That's
But we'd also like to invite the police chief and his, department, both the state and the local police, to attend. It is a time for us to get together before the summer season starts and, we start getting real busy again.
Thank you.
We have our fire district physicals, on the 17th, yes, 17th at 6 p.m. That's open to any member of the fire district, and that is a required physical we have to have to be an active member. And then our OSHA training will be on the 23rd at 6 p.m. at the Old Forge Fire Hall, and that is an annual training that we all have to take to be an active member in the department. And that's all I have.
Thank you very much.
Did you get that high rail vehicle?
We're working on it. We have a
Thank you,
district
Mike.
meeting coming up.
Thank you
this
very
next
much.
Thursday, and we are looking at several different vehicles. We allocated 35,000 to replace the high railer. So it will be done. Hopefully we'll have it done by spring. The state has graciously said that they would change the running gear from the high railer that we have right now over to the new vehicle, free of charge. So, it's in the works. We're working on it. We're just trying to find the proper vehicle that, will fit our needs.
Nice. Anyone
We
else?
also had the demonstration of the SHRP. I don't know if anybody saw that going on at the lakefront. And it does have some drawbacks, but it also has some very good qualities. At this time, we just don't have room in the fire hall for it, so we're going to readdress it in the fall, after hopefully the ambulance will have their building up and their ambulances will be leaving the fire hall. And then we will have room in the fire hall for that piece of equipment if we decide to go that route.
Thank you.
That's a pretty slick looking vehicle if I do.
Very impressive.
The ambulance corps is gonna be breaking ground very shortly for our building.
Yeah, you
Expect to have it up by November 1st.
Oh, that's awesome.
Construction is going to do it. Brother Mike's gonna oversee the construction. It's gonna be a very efficient building, R100, and it'll be a big addition to the community.
It's very cool.
This past weekend, I had the opportunity to attend the New York State Snowmobile Association educational forum that took place down in Binghamton. It was a gathering of approximately 240 volunteer clubs, and just a few observations down there. From what I saw, we have a really good thing going here, being a municipal ran trail system. Volunteerism is tough across the state, and looking at some of the demographics of the people that are involved, a lot of the same old faces continue to step up for the State Snowmobile Association. So we're very fortunate in that regard here, what we have relative to what's going on around the state. So I think that there's a lot to be proud of here for what's going on and the efforts over the years to make this happen. A couple other things, I did attend some breakout sessions, and one of them was with DOT. Some of the items that I had mentioned at last month's meeting, the Adirondack Rail Trail and the Route 28 bridge crossing over the Middle Branch, Moose River, those were brought up with attendees at the forum. It was not me bringing those subjects up, but there was some dialogue that went back and forth, and it seemed that I could sense that those continue to be, because of the number of people from around the state that do snowmobile here, those seem to be the topics on people's mind. And that, I'm sure that that's going to continue. That conversation was cut short to make way for the next speaker, who was there on behalf of the parks, and just some statistics that are worth noting across the state. Compared to other years, we ended up with 5 fatalities statewide, one of them being here that was being investigated by the state police. Accidents were higher than normal, at least that was what was discussed, but there were no final numbers put out yet. I anticipate any day Parks is actually going to reach or be providing those updated figures for the 24-25 season to see what they look like. I did reach out to the police department here just to get an idea how we benchmark compared to the rest of the state. It is somewhat difficult to compare until we see what the total numbers look like across the state. But total reportable accidents here were 14, property damage was 5, incidents reported, personal injury 9. Just, it's important to note with those numbers that typically, unless property damage or injury would exceed greater than $1,000, you know, that might have influenced the uptick in those numbers. But it'd be interesting just to take a look at if we were to compare snowfall rates each year, how the numbers locally compare if we were to go back. I don't know what correlations you could draw off of it, but just some, you know, it's at the end of the day, I think it's important also to thank the efforts of law enforcement, the great job they did this year, and the area first responders in terms of how they handled these incidents when they did occur.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Thank you, John.
I would like to make a motion to go into executive session to discuss the employment history of an employee.
Have a second?
I guess I'll make the second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Are we going to your office?
No, we're staying.
We're gonna stay here.
Back from executive session, no action was taken. Do I have a motion to pay the audit of claims?
I'll make the motion.
Kyle, second.
I'll second it.
Mike, all in favor?
Aye. Yo ho ho.
Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion, Tom Greco.
Second.
I'll second.
Going to Nancy's for
We
dinner.
got 2 seconds down there, Ben and Kyle.
Well, we'll go with Ben, he's been kind of quiet.
All in favor?
Yo ho ho.
Thank you guys very much.